Welcome to this 21st day of 2021. What a pleasure to have you, and it's such a pleasure to be back just a day after America inaugurated President Joe Biden as America's 46th U.S. president and Kamala Harris as America's first woman vice president. I'd like to wish the American people a massive congratulations. Well, here in Kenya, the race for the presidential successor is on. ODM party being the first party to throw themselves on the track after just calling for applications from aspiring candidates wishing to fly the party ticket in the 2022 presidential election. However, questions have been raised on the timelines of this move. Could this be a diversionary move following the BBI jitters being felt to the party? Is ODM trying to keep their house in order? Nevertheless, ODM leader Raila Odinga is, however, yet to declare interest in the top seat. Is a famous handshake in flames? Only time will tell. However, what could be in flames is our economy. President Kenyatta alleging that 2 billion shillings is lost daily due to corruption. The head of state, who had earlier claimed he is in charge of the government, could probably not be. We discuss it and the price of taking Kenya into a referendum. And to kick us off is a question of the day. Is it time for Kenya to have a female deputy president or female president? Is it time for Kenya to have a female president or deputy president? Kindly engage us on all our social media handles as Switch TV Kenya and at Lincoln Wambugu. Remember to use the hashtag tipping point on Twitter so that we can read your SMS right here. Our guest tonight, Joyce, Ngugi, Kiambu Deputy Governor, Rogers Mpuru, Nopeu, Party Secretary General, and Noordean Khagai, a lawyer. Welcome to Tipping Point. I'm Lincoln Wambugu, our sign language interpreters are Michael Maithia and Teresia Washira. Ladies and gentlemen, karibuni sana.
Shukran.
It's nice to have you.
Thank you.
Now, U.S. elections.
Yes.
U.S. elections. A woman vice president and Joe Biden, perhaps the oldest president the U.S. will ever see. The question is gender equality. Are we going to achieve that? We can start with you, DG. Are we going to achieve that here in Kenya? Not just in Kenya, but in Africa?
Wow. First of all, congratulations to the two, the president, the deputy, and extra congratulations to the deputy, a woman. And US being one of the countries that we have walked along with and even followed the steps. And sometimes I feel like they showers are blessings unto us. I want to believe we are moving there. Even Kenya, we are moving there because long time ago, we never used to be where we are. We have now governors who are women, and they're strong women. We also have deputies, quite a number of them. We are about 8 of us. It shows we are moving on up on a radar. And you have many women as CSs, many of them work very hard, who are very strong. Therefore, this is achievable. The trade we have, it is achievable. In Africa, it is even achievable in Kenya. And we are still negotiating. And we are still pleading. As the BBI goes through.
Perhaps DG, you might not be the one being fought, but Anne Kananu is being fought. Ponder on that. I'll come back to that. Rogers.
On the issue of the US elections, gender,
yes.
I think eventually we'll achieve it here. It's going to take time. It's not an easy journey, but eventually we'll achieve because we are on the right direction. Gender is being addressed properly on the BBI. Through that gender parity rule.
Yes.
And I don't know why most of the women may be fighting BBI and it's being addressed there. So you cannot talk about you want to achieve the gender parity and still fight BBI. If you want to achieve the gender parity,
we'll come back to BBI. Noordean Khagai.
Yeah.
What does Biden and Kamala Harris presidency mean for Kenya?
Well, first and foremost, when you have a Republican for president, he or she is solely focused on the state, that is the USA. When you have a Democrat as a president, there are memes that they are known to be the world police. So they like to enforce policies across the world. They like to more or less be a prefect in the world. So in seeing them take office yesterday, for the ladies who aspire to be leaders anywhere, not just Kenya, anywhere in the world, that's a stepping stone, and that is something to tell them that they can get there. But in having a leader, forget about the gender, male or female. We want people of substance. Your gender should not mean, now I'm a lady, I'm a man, so I need to be a leader. What do you have? What are you portraying? What do you have to improve the lives of the people? So gender is really neither here nor there. If we get to that point where we have a lady in Kenya with the interests of the people at heart in Kenya, by all means, then she can be the president.
Do you agree with Noordean?
Yes, I do.
Gender is business.
Does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
No, it matters. There's a strong point he brought on that it's a substance, those good qualities of a leader. But I want to say there's always a difference between the two genders. There is what a woman can have, man doesn't have. There is what man can have, that a woman will not have. So when we are combining the two, when we are bringing them together, we complement each other. Therefore, I would say a woman leader, of course, with substance. Yes.
Well, when you look at the two elections that have stood out for us, the US elections and Uganda's elections, when you look at their democracies, they seem to be a bit shaky. What does Kenya need to learn from both elections? Rogers, we saw the chaos post-election violence.
I think
the
the
US.
democracy was on trial, especially in Uganda. Because it's only in Uganda that they didn't know the number of registered voters. They didn't know the number of the printed ballot papers. So really, there was no elections in Uganda. So that is a big lesson that African states and African presidents should take. But eventually, that will come to an end. Because number one, Bobi Wine is still very young. He should retreat back, take a back seat, just take the opposition mantle, and lead the opposition. It is only death that can topple Museveni.
Democracy, now
It's not about democracy. I don't think it was
how easy is it to lead an opposition in Africa? I mean, we've seen Raila Odinga. He was opposition. He got tired. He joined the government. Noordean, is it going to be easy for Bobi Wine to lead an opposition against Museveni?
You see, the good thing about Bobi Wine is that he has the advantage of time, because Museveni is old, he is young. No matter how many times you're beaten, no matter how many times you're arrested, if at all you want to liberate your people, that is the extra motivation that wakes you up tomorrow morning. If Kenya, we would have sat down and said, you know what, it's difficult, we would have never had the 20th constitution. There are people who stood and fought the second liberation. So in Bobi Wine, technically, that is the phase they are in, second liberation, what Kenya went through. Now, Kenya is a special case because we need the third and final one, but at least we've moved from the second. So what we have in Uganda, for example,
is the first one.
Is the first one.
Yes.
And anyone who thought Bobi Wine would win was lying to themselves. Bobi Wine was launching a launching pad. There's something we need to learn as Kenya. It has been done in South Africa, where Malema and the rest, through EFF, have come up as young people. It has been done in Zimbabwe, courtesy of Chamisa. And now it is in Uganda. It is time for Kenya to do the same thing.
Do you think so?
Yes.
It's time for the youth in Kenya to rise up.
Yeah, it is time for the youth.
Are they going to win this battle?
Like Bob Wine, they may not win the battle immediately when they start, but we encourage them to start, because there is always a beginning, and they should not give up. They have the energy, they have the ears, therefore they should fight on. They are the ones to sit on next time. And before I forget, you have told me about Anne Kananu.
Anne Kananu, yes.
That is being fought, being
Yes.
a woman. And I will not say that she's being fought because she's a woman. There have been a lot of controversies in Nairobi politics.
Yes.
But speaking from the woman perspective, I think we would let her be. She's already sworn in. Let her be.
Was it through the right channel? Do you think it was through the right channel that Anne Kananu was sworn in as DG, now acting governor maybe?
It may be not really the right
channel.
But sometimes you sit back and ask yourself, what next? Are people in this town ready for a by-election? Are we ready to see cars with sirens and a lot of noise and big rallies all over Nairobi? It's going to stop the economy for some time. And we're just finishing we are trying to straighten the curve. Now we cannot go back into elections right now as the center of the CBD. What I think should be done is the LSK should just scrap off the case. Let Kananu be sworn in. It's just only a year.
Yes.
Then we'll go into elections. The system can bring their people, the hustlers can bring their people, and then let's have a democratic exercise.
Sure.
Rule of law. Noted. Please speak about the rule of law.
I'll take you back to the Maraga decision in 2017. In nullifying the election, he said, an election is a process, not an event. Back to Anne Kananu. Just because she's now there doesn't make the process legal. It is a nullity. So there is no way you can go around circumvent and say, you know what, she's already there, then let us make it legal. You know, the problem is we have the Act, the County Governments Act. Section 32D clearly states how you have a deputy governor. So the problem is a deputy governor cannot ascend to office without the seal of a governor. The acting governor cannot purport to have the authority to do that. That's the challenge, legal number one. So what we have by the IBC announcing a by-election, gazetting the names, and having an acting deputy governor, an acting governor, by that means the election must go on. So LSK is in court asking simple questions. Question number one, was the process of impeachment followed according to the law? Now the challenge there is that the president himself went back the other day and he shot himself on the foot by saying, I engineered his ouster. That in itself is an illegality, because the impeachment should emanate from the members of the county assembly. And we believe, as a Nairobi voter, by voting a member of a county assembly, you have your own brain to reason. That is why you represent the interests of the people. So it should emanate from the county assembly, go straight to the Senate. So it means they were all panel beaten to think in a certain direction. And that brings us to the problem that we have in Kenya, that most parties in Kenya are owned by individuals and not institutions.
Do you think so? Do you think so, DJ?
He could be talking from a lawyer's perspective. Yes. And there's a lot of the laws, but we have to have a solution. And the controversies are so many, because there's the Kananu who had been named as a deputy governor. There is the impeachment of the governor. There is Igathe's case. There is by-elections. We also have the interests of the Nairobians at heart. And I think we had to have a solution. And the solution that was reached to was Kananu's. I may not explain the many laws that are behind all these, but for the Nairobi people, for the Kenyan, and after the long war we had with COVID, we have to settle. We still have it. But we had to have a solution. Rogers, and that is the solution that came.
Noordean is saying one thing. DG is saying we needed to have a solution. Noordean is saying uphold the rule of law first. Are we going to have a country where the rule of law is not upheld at all?
I support Noordean. You need to uphold the rule of law, because eventually, whatever case it may be, it's going to be used as a precedence in future. If it happened in Nairobi, next time it will happen in Mombasa, and then the law will be relevant.
Yes.
Because every case, you refer back to a precedence of whatever scenario it may be. So I think we uphold the rule of law. Whatever LSK, LSK is taking us back to the impeachment of the governor. If there was an illegality, then we bring back the governor, and then we move on with life. What is
important? Are you giving us that sinister laughter? What do you know?
But what is important?
What do you know, Rogers?
What is important is we uphold the rule of law, because there's going to be a precedence. Yeah.
Yes.
But you know, we'll waste a lot of time. In this up and down, you going back to court. I think, I don't know what LSK was waiting for. I think there may be an ill motive, because I don't know what they are waiting for. Why didn't they go to court immediately? Former governor was impeached. They went to court when Kananu
Came in.
So I don't know, maybe they have their own candidate. They want to
And the court,
They
had
want
also
to
Don't
decided.
speak on behalf of LSK.
I only speak on behalf of LSK because there's Harvey to do that.
Yes.
But what I would
Harvey
say,
is still there. He was impeached.
what I would say, you see, we have to be honest.
Yes.
The reason why certain people wouldn't want, or rather powers that be, wouldn't want an election in Nairobi,
Yes.
is the interest. You know, Nairobi, let us not lie to each other. Oh, there's COVID. We have an election in Matungu. Let's not talk about
candidate.
yeah. Let's so,
You have a candidate in
so,
Matungu.
Yeah.
so let's not say we can't have an election in Nairobi and it's happening across the country.
Yes.
The problem with Nairobi is simple. I'll tell you, 60% of the GDP. That's number one. Number two is control of the city. Number three is Msambweni. And let us be honest. You know, we're going to lie here, but let us be honest with one another.
What does
It's
Msambweni
not-
have to do with Nairobi? It's more than 500 kilometers
Whatever
away.
happened in Msambweni shocked some people. And let us be honest, because now you see there's a challenge.
Yes.
There is a challenge. In as much as people will say it didn't shock them, the political class are afraid of a by-election in Nairobi. Because one, it would mean, let me tell you, it would mean one thing. It would mean a candidate, and I don't know how that works legally, because
Yes.
there's no way you can have a candidate from the opposition and government together. They have to tell us which law they're following. Then secondly, it would mean
Is there any law that is governing whoever candidate the opposition brings?
Just a minute.
Just
Just
a
a
minute,
minute.
Rogers.
Just a minute. And then it would mean if, for example, we have a by-election in Nairobi, this is what you have to count. You'll have to count. It was Bishop. So it is Bishop versus whoever Jubilee brings, right? So you count Bishop, her supporters. Don't forget Mike Sonko, his supporters, and then count the Hustler supporters. So when you look at this thing, and if a by-election happens in Nairobi, politics 2022 has kick-started. Because Nairobi is the face, it is the hub. So when you have a by-election in Nairobi, there is no work the government will do between now and the election in 2022. So they look at the scenario and they're trying to avoid the by-election, because whoever takes control of the city now will plant his or her people. He is a Secretary General and he knows. It's the precursor. It will be a precursor. And whoever wins has an advantage. And so they wouldn't want to give anyone advantage. So what do? Shout the by-election. Have your person there who will listen. Like you see, when she took over, she said, I'm here to work with NMS.
Yes.
I'll follow NMS. So you are the face, but the work is being done also. Because all the main functions were taken by NMS. Whatever is left there, if you check whatever is left there, are mediocre jobs. And that is why Sonko was reacting. But he shot himself on the foot because he didn't realize, and whoever was advising him lied to him by handing over the most critical and crucial departments in the county government.
He gives lessons.
Rogers, let me pose this to DG. Msambweni, was it a litmus test for 2022?
We will not take it that way.
Did Msambweni shape 2022 politics?
No.
And now Nairobi politics?
No, we cannot base
Are
that.
certain people afraid of a by-election?
We cannot take it that Msambweni shaped the 2022 elections. And the candidate that won actually was an ODM to begin with. Therefore, we cannot really conclude that this shaped the 2022. No, that is small enough to conclude that. And it has no influence with the Nairobi gubernatorial seat or the deputy governor's seat.
So
it
no one
has
is
nothing.
afraid of a
Nobody is afraid of. And then I want to tell my friend who said that the opposition candidate, whoever it was, should have won. Who said that? Even a candidate would have come from the other side and win as well. Therefore, the government is not at a deciding or fearing that an opposition will win and control Nairobi. No, there are other interests that are being looked at other than the fear. There is no fear that the opposition will win, because who said that they are the only ones that can win? Yeah. And who you know, my friend is even counting their support, Hasola support, sijui Wajiro, sijui who. Even the government has a lot of support, machinery as well.
DG has spoken. Rogers,
Yes.
do you agree? Who do you agree with? DG? The government has machinery.
The government has, of because I
The
don't.
government has its own people.
Machinery, of course, to govern the country and for the interests of the people. Because we have to govern it for the interests of the Nairobians.
I think no one is fearing, the government is not fearing a by-election in Nairobi. I mean, we do have time. I've told you again, we don't really have time to go back to the streets. Yeah?
But you have a candidate in Matungu.
Yeah, but I really don't want to take people. I don't want to take people.
Matungu and
through
Nairobi
the-
are different.
Very different. Very different. Whatever happened in Sambweni cannot shape the elections for 2022. Talk about BBI. That's going to shape. That is not about whatever happened in Matungu. I mean, whatever happened in
Sambweni.
Sambweni. That's a small issue. That's a small issue. It's
Nairobi
just
is a bigger issue.
Nairobi is a bigger issue.
The people don't want to come to the table and talk about
Again,
the issue.
no one has really, we're talking about 60% of the GDP is coming from this capital. No one has that time to take people around. You know, it's going to stop business completely in Nairobi for the next like 4 or 5 months. No one, the government is not ready to lose all that time and that revenue out from the county government, from the national government. No one is ready.
But people
That is
think,
why we are trying to avoid the by-election.
people think COVID already messed with the business here in Nairobi.
It was worldwide, not only in Nairobi, not only in the country.
It's tough.
You know, yeah.
It is not Matungu.
Now, we can go back to our question of the day.
Yeah.
Is Kenya ready for a female deputy president or a female president? Is Kenya ready for a female president or a female deputy president? Send in your feedback to our SMS line 111 and a Switch TV Kenya and a link on Wambugu. Noted. What do you think? Is it time?
Who in the political class or sphere aspires to be a president among the ladies that we know? Be it a governor, be it
DG
a
will
of
tell
parliament,
us
be it a governor,
whether
be
she
it-
wants to
be
go
it-
up.
be it a governor, be it whatever, who. You see, like I told you, it's really neither here nor there. For you to have a female president, then according to me, there are qualities I look for in whoever comes in as the next president of Kenya. One, I want a visionary leader, a selfless leader, and most importantly, a patriot. So if there's a lady that fits those three, then okay. Because I'll tell you why. Because whoever wants to be president of Kenya has some questions to answer. Number one, since independence, the 3 diseases we were suffering at independence are still here to date. That is ignorance, that is poverty, and my friend, that is diseases.
We have 2 minutes to break. Nopeu, Sekjan, are you going to float a female president?
Yeah, it depends with the quality.
If you get one, if DG comes to your party and she wants to be president, are you going to support her?
Of course, we will support as a party. But it's going to be competitive.
So it's
for
not
us.
about Kenya being ready.
It's not about.
It's
not
about the candidate coming
It's about
up.
the candidate coming up.
DG, you agree?
Yes, it's about the candidate. And it is not about at who. Women are there who will have the qualities of being focused, patriotic,
Noordean
and
says
visionary.
he hasn't seen any.
Yeah.
No one is coming up.
Yeah,
He has only
not
seen
about who, but so long as we have a reader
Yes.
who is visionary, patriotic, and the characters he has named. And we have women who have them.
Thank you. The conversation continues after this short commercial break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is the second part of Tipping Point. My name is Lincoln Wambugu. Sign language interpreters are Michael Maithia and Teresia Washira. The question we're asking tonight is: Kenya ready for a female president or a female deputy president? Send in your feedback to our SMS line 111 and a Switch TV Kenya and at Lincoln Wambugu. Is Kenya ready for a female president or a female deputy president? Gentlemen, the second part. Let's talk about BBI. Are the contents of the BBI going to solve the common 1 inches problems, Rogers?
BBI really, I am a Secretary General of a party.
Mm-hmm.
I choose not really to talk about BBI.
Why?
Because it's not the in thing. There's nothing much new on the BBI.
Rogers, do you know what you said in the other half? The BBI might shape 2022 elections. Why can't we
I
not
was
talk about it?
I was talking about.
Mhm.
You see, BBI people have read it. I'm sure people have read it. I don't know which edition they have read, because there are like 4 editions of the BBI. It's talking much about, everyone knows what the BBI is talking about, the youth, the incubation centers, women, people with disability. We don't keep on repeating what people know about BBI. So it's absolutely up to the Raya if to vote yes or no. But the only issue with the BBI is a good document, I may say so, is the timing.
What's wrong with the timing?
You know, we have so many issues going on right now. As a country, we are going through a lot. The president said today is 21st. We have lost 42 billion the last 21 days. 2 billion a day. So we need to solve that equation. We need to solve the equation of 2 billion first before we talk about BBI.
DG, do you think the BBI is going to solve common Mwananchi's problems?
Yes,
It is?
it is.
How?
Because though he says that it has a lot on what we've been hearing, it has an improvement. Because we improvement is the last constitution that we have, and it has quite a number of benefits. One, when we come to gender, it has a lot of gender inclusivity. When we come to youth, it has a lot of issues. It has improved on youth, like on the help loans, on the business issues where they have to get loans and they are not charged for about 7 years. It has extra money in every county that is earned into every county. When we also come to the divisions of the counties, because like when I come to Kiambu, we are getting 6 more constituencies. That means an extra fund, which is going to make the county grow more. We have the wards fund, the ward development fund that was not there. That's an extra coin that is even going to make the ward reps more comfortable, even serving their people, and therefore so harmonious. The other thing, the BBI is, it is born out of Handshake. And Handshake was a check that was bringing peace and people together, the nation together. There comes the BBI, as the name suggests, building bridges, bringing all the people together, being a source of unity, of a direction of unity. Then it is an important tool. Who doesn't want to go with unity? And unity, when we are all brought together, we are going to reduce fights. We are going to reduce waste of so much resources like we have experienced other times fighting after elections when we have inclusivity. And there we've been wasting funds and resources. Therefore, it is also going to save.
DG, some might argue that even with the promise of extra funds to counties and even to the grassroots, like to wards, some say that they have not received the 15%. Now there's a promise of 35%. They've not received the 50%. How are they going to get 35%? But before we even come to that, Noordean, do you think the BBI is going to solve the common Mwananchi's problems?
Do you want me to be honest, or should I lie to you?
Be honest.
The answer is no. Let me tell you why. You know, let us be honest. Let me tell you why. You see, there is no single document in this world that will solve the issues that are facing Kenya. Because if documents were solving issues, the TGRC would have solved the issues.
The Bible.
But they don't follow. The Ndung report. You see, the problems facing Kenya is strictly courtesy of the leaders we have. Because they divide us according to tribes, according to class, and according to religion. So before you even talk about a document about solving issues of Kenyans, they need to check their software. You know, they need to uninstall what they have and install something new. But since we know they can't, and they will never do that, because you see, these people have come of age, you know. They have come, the lifespan. You know, in politics, there's a graph. Now where they are, they can't go back. And so they can never offer anything alternative to what we know. That is where we bring in the new equation that nobody is talking about. We are busy talking about the Hustler dynasty. We are busy talking about now tribes. The only thing that will save this country and Africa at large is the youth getting involved in issues that affect the country. Why do I say this? Because you know, when they make legislation or laws, they affect you and I, because we have the benefit of time. These guys are going to leave us. So when a young man or a young lady says, I don't care about politics, it's boring. When that tax is passed in parliament, my friend will catch up with you. So what we are saying is simple. the youth need to take part in the decision-making process of the country, because only they can help in actually giving a new frame to the politics of this country. And that is because these guys will never change. So we need a radical surgery of our political sphere. And that is what Bobi Wine is trying to do in Uganda. So right now, where we are stuck. We're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Right now, one is talking about a class, the other is talking about tribe. You see, so BBI said it's bringing people together. So when you tell me 2 tribes have been in power, it's time for another tribe. So what prevents that tribe that comes from revenging from those other 2 tribes? You see, that is not where we want to go. What we need as leaders, let me tell you, what you need as a leader in Kenya is someone, like I told you, a visionary, a selfless and patriotic person. A person who will serve you, him and her without bias. A person who will care about the country first before themselves. Because at the end of the day, these tribal cocoons we put ourselves into, these kingpins, when they get into power, they only use the tribe during election. But when they get into power, the same tribe and the other ones suffer the same. If it is unemployment, it is all across the country. So we need to make a paradigm shift. And that is why I bring about the aspect of the youth, because the youth are tribeless. They only bring tribes to us when it is time for an election. But Akamau and Otieno will watch Manchester versus Liverpool together, laugh together and go home. And that is what we need.
I agree, but
to a certain extent?
Yes, to a certain extent, because you cannot say that you're talking about a rotational presidency. I am telling you that is what we need. That is what we need. However, we need a rotational president in this country. We have had 2 tribes. We have had Kenyatta rule for 17 years, 62 to 78. We have had M1 rule for 24 years. We have had Obako rule for 10 years. And now UK is finishing 10 years. That is 37 for one tribe. Okay? 37 years for one tribe and 24 for the other. My boss, you cannot tell me that it is a family that rules. It is a community that rules. If Raila Odinga became the president in 2007, Thika Road will be on Naivasha Way. It will not be going to Central Province. And I use Thika Road going to Meru. I eat Kibaki's fruits. I don't belong to Kibaki family. So you cannot tell me it is a family that rules. If your family rules, then, everyone in your community will eat the fruits. So that is why I was saying, Kizunguke.
DG, Kizunguke?
Let me not start with Kizunguke. I start with, our lawyer said, BBI is not going to be the solution. Kwan, what is BBI? BBI right now is a document. He said that a document is not going to be the solution. But if we are having the solution, we have to have a basis. We have to start somewhere. We have to sit down and come up with a document that leads us to where we are going. So this is a document that leads us to where we are going, which is becoming a law. And a law guides on how we are going to be in future, isn't it? So this is not just, let's not carry it, a document is not going to, so it's not just a document, it's because there had to be a process. We sit down, write things, agree, and give us a way forward. It's going to be a law that will guide how resources will be, how the country will be governed. And this law is the same one that is going to include the youth. You know, we cannot just jump and start saying now, youth come, you're the one on the table making the decisions alone.
It will never happen.
It cannot happen from nowhere.
There's never happened.
There has to be the way the leadership has. These old people, we want to think that they are not important. They are very important. They cannot go at once. And what they're trying to do, they're giving us guidelines because they know they're exiting. That's why they're coming up with a document to give us guidelines on how we are going to go forward. They know they're exiting. And another thing I want to say, that the BBI was made for inclusivity. I want to add this again, to include. He talked of rotational, which are all together and mean together. It was for bringing all the communities together. My friend wanted to repeat that. Nobody is talking about tribes. I want to refuse this because the president mentioned when he went for the burial, he never meant tribal. He only meant rotational. He meant rotational. And he has said it very well. It is not about a family, it's about a community. And we cannot ignore that the BBI is bringing us together. Therefore, it's the one that is killing the tribal issues.
Now that we're still with you, DG, how achievable, how attainable is 35% to counties?
Okay, right now it may look not achievable because we've come through hardships, and maybe even further in the counties, the 15% have been a problem, but we are not going to remain like this forever. Even you at your own time, there are times you go through hardships and economically you are very down, but in a matter of time you wake up and rise. We are going to rise. We are not finishing, and we will not finish. There will be solutions, and I know they are there, and we will rise and move on, and this 35 will be available.
You think so?
Let's have the law. And we'll
Rotation
go
of
with the law.
presidency, Noordean.
Lincoln, let me just tell you something.
Please.
You're trying to amend something you don't follow. You are amending a constitution you don't observe. Isn't that ludicrous? You are amending something you failed to
Wait a
uphold.
minute. Who is not observing? Who is not upholding?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Now, we have instances where court orders are never followed in this country. True or false? We have ministers who are summoned to court, they never show up. True or false? So now you're coming to tell me, let us amend the constitution, it has the issues, it's a problem. Let us amend the constitution. After amending this constitution, everything will be okay. I say this very clearly. The issues facing Kenyans are the leaders. The software is what is rotten. Let me tell you. The software is rotten. And that stems from us, the voter. So the voter, we need to raise, there's an article that says leadership and integrity. So we need to raise the leadership threshold in Kenya so that we stop electing clowns and people who don't have the interest of the country at heart. And when I say this, I am not saying this in bad taste. I'm being honest, because at the end of the day, 3/4 of what we have in office does not pass the leadership and integrity threshold. And I'm not lying. So what we need to do as the voter, it starts from you and I, the voter. We need to raise the bar. Don't just vote for Noordean because they gave you a packet of flour. What do I have behind my ears? What am I saying? Do we even know what are the roles of the MPs? Do we know the roles of the governors? What does this person, they want a seat. What are you going to do? Because you see, for example, now we're here busy talking about succession 2022. Whoever is coming to office, they need to know there's unemployment, unless they're living under a rock. There is a debt that is crazy. There is, Kenya, we are bragging how we want to go to the first world. A country that cannot even feed its own self. Let's start from there. Our agriculture, which is called the bread and butter of Kenya, is no longer there. You import food from Uganda and Tanzania. Even though you might laugh at Uganda and tell them they have a dictator, at least they have food. Something like food Kenya don't have, you have to import. So whoever is coming or wants to be a president in Kenya needs to answer some really critical questions, like unemployment. I talk about the youth because I'm a young man and I'm passionate about being a young man. Let me tell you, because I'm not going to be a young man forever. The incumbent, or rather, the sitting government, rode on a platform of digital, rode on a platform of being young. Got into office, forgot that they rode on that platform. 1 million jobs a year. Where are they? Unless you've seen them. Let me tell you, listen, talked about stadiums, they are not there. So before we talk about BBI, before we talk about Hustler, before we talk about Siju Wilbaro, we need to ask Jubilee certain questions. You promised us heaven. Where is what you promised us? For example, if they offered, the stadiums they say they offered, they would have reduced, not the whole of it, but a margin of their unemployment. So many young and women depend on sports in Kenya. In 2002, let me take you back history. 2002, Germany lost the World Cup. The then sports minister opened across the country 300 football academies. That is why you have Ozil, you have and the rest. So if a government wants to help the youth, we don't want office desks. Neither do we want jobs from your pocket. We have skills, we have talents. Focus. Look, they copy. Let them copy what is good from the outside world. You look at things like sports. Why don't you invest in football academies? You have basketball, you have rugby, but they don't. And do you know why? They want to impoverish you, to use you, because we are ladders. It is seduce, use, and abuse.
Do you think that is the case?
I agree, but again, we need to be realistic. You can't change this overnight. Youth taking up the helms of leadership is going to be gradual. It's a gradual change.
Yeah.
We need to accept that it's going to be gradual. Like it or not, it cannot happen overnight. So how do we get the end results? How do we get there? How do we get, what's the direction way forward? And that is why the DJ is talking about inclusivity and all about the BBI. What is the BBI talking about the youth? Really? I mean, whatever, if it's going to change the situation, if BBI is going to change the situation for the young person right now, then we are in the right direction. We go for it. If it is not changing, because we have agreed that it is not realistic for us to remove the old guard overnight, isn't it? Yeah. So if BBI is the right way to go to get the end result, then we go for it. If it is not, then let's get rid of it. That is why I'm telling people, so many, read, don't listen, just read it. Read, the editions are out there, they're online. Read and make your own decision.
Digi, because you're here, I'd really want to speak about gender equality, inclusivity. Do you think BBI is going to solve it with having a governor who is male or a governor who is female and the deputy is of the other gender? Is that going to solve the case of gender equality?
Can I request to just comment on the
what Noordean said?
The former, just
Yes,
a little, then I
please,
go to
please,
the
no
gender. I want to answer my colleague there and take an example of you're running an organization and you come and realize maybe it's not running on well, and the objectives I had and my strategic plan, I was not able to meet it as it is. Therefore, you reach at a place and you think forward and you have to look all the way on how to improve and get back to the track. And I want to say this, our two leaders, when they had the handshake, they must have seen something. They must have felt the software he's talking about that could not be working well, or the promises and many other things maybe were not lining up well. The kind of expectations the youth have. And therefore, they came together, they decided to have the BBI as one of the ways maybe to solve the situations and improve on better leadership. Isn't it? Why don't we respect it and wait? Because there had to be a way to solve the problem. We know you won't solve it with mouth. We have to have actions. And if the process is there, let us follow it and see. In any case, there has to be a way. Let me go back to the gender issue. And again, I always please the BBI because it is uplifting the issue of gender and gender inclusivity and also tribal inclusivity. And if I talk of an example in Kiambu where I'm now serving as a DG, I really love the relationship where two genders are working together.
How's the relationship?
One, there is always a love relationship between a governor and a deputy. But when there are two genders, the respect is more, the submission is more, and you can relate well. Number two.
What if you're the one at the top?
If you're the one on the top.
Is he supposed to submit to?
A deputy is a deputy, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and I guess they would submit. And more on top of submission, I would want to add the complementary part of it. I know the men will laugh. Of course, they are like that. Yeah, they're laughing because a woman is, and I have to advocate for this. A woman must be there.
Yes.
And there is the complementing part of it. Because there are laws that are played very well by men, and there are laws that are played very well by women. For example, when we talk to the development, both can do development, but men will do very well in development of the roads, big things. We say men think big, but women can also think other small things, very important in the communities, looking at the disabled, looking at the elderly, looking at the social needs. Sometimes some men are also good into it. But when they complement each other like this, I really love that. I really love that. And that's why I would advocate the two genders so that we gain from both. And now they can laugh about the submission.
But 99% of that submission story, you'd want the man to be governor and the woman to be deputy.
God knows.
But either way, the handshake. Is it shaky?
Why is it shaky?
Noordean, you know the president during Mama Davidi's burial said that he's in charge, he doesn't want to be lectured. Then the other day he says 2 billion shillings in his government is being lost daily. And maybe I thought the handshake would help in all this. Maybe an opposition would help, you know, as a watchdog, would
Like you
really
said,
help. Is the handshake shaky?
Like
What's
you said,
happening?
an opposition would help. You see, we have to be very clear. You know, the law is there. Raila Odinga, courtesy of the handshake, doesn't bring him to government. He's not in government. And if he thinks he's in government, then he's lying to himself. He's not in government. He's in the opposition. That's why the DP is still the DP, sadly, even though he has acted like he's in the opposition right now. So what we have right now in Kenya, you know, when you want to relay a message, in politics they say you send your dog. When the dog is barking, don't go after the dog. Look at the master. So about the handshake being shaky, there have been sentiments from leaders from ODM. You've heard them. Orengo the other day said, court orders, constitution must be followed. If not, we are ready to walk out of this. We have, you hear some of them who say, like Babu Bueno, if you do not support Raila Amolo Odinga, we'll walk out of this. You know, the problem is our politics is full of deceit and betrayal. That is why now they're talking about an agreement. You realize they want something formal.
Yes.
Because if an MOU in 202 was thrown under the table, our politics is dangerous. It is full of betrayal. And that is why you see there is always, they suspect one another. So far, they are still together. If it goes any other way, then like they said, Oburu was saying the other day, that they are together to help the president achieve his legacy.
Yes.
But if he wants otherwise, they will go and they will make the remaining 18 months or 17, close to 17, hell on earth. So what we would want, personally, I don't believe that the BBI, the handshake brought peace. Didn't bring peace. It brought a sense of calmness. Calmness, not peace.
Is the BBI, is the BBI going to last? I mean, the handshake, sorry, is it going to last until 2022? Do you think it's going to last, Rogers?
I think the handshake was really not for 2022. Raila Odinga said he has got a different way of communicating with the government.
This is your parting shot too.
He has got a different way of communicating with the government. He has been in opposition many years and it has not worked out. So he decided to communicate, pass the communication to the government in a different way. So he's still in opposition, but what opposition does is bring it from internal. Okay?
Is it working?
It is working out. I mean, at least, it is working out. It's better than when guys are on the streets. It's a better way to communicate. It's an opposition.
But the economy says otherwise.
What do you think would be in this country if guys were going to IEBC every Monday? It would be ungovernable. So I think it was not meant for 2022, and it's gonna last up to where 2022, up to where it starts the politics of 2022.
DG, the economy says otherwise. Are we going, is the handshake going to last until 2022? This is your parting shot too.
Yeah, it will last until 2022, and as my colleague has said, it was not meant for 2022. And I want to say it is not about the handshake that the economy is cheeky. I don't see where. In fact, the handshake is the one that has brought a lot of sanity as far as workings and the economy is concerned, because of the harmony, and people have worked with harmony. While it not for the COVID, there was a lot of harmonious working with the business people. And I would keep pleading to people that we embrace the way what handshake had done for us. Let's embrace BBI and lead in between lines without criticisms of the hustle, wheelbarrow, I don't know, whatever, and dynasty. That is what is killing us. That is what is destroying us.
Thank you, DG. Thank you, Rogers. Thank you, Noordean, for coming. Now, our quote of the day. Being president is like being an animal in a hailstorm. There's nothing to do but to stand there and take it. It has been said that politics is the second oldest profession. I have learned that it bears a striking resemblance to the first by Ronald Reagan and Lyndon B. Johnson. All the views expressed on this show do not relay the views of Switch TV, but those of the panelists. Many thanks for watching. My name is Lincoln Wambugu. The conversation continues next Thursday right here on Switch TV at exactly 7:30. And shout out to my producer Daniel Karaoke, Clifford Doobie, and Frederick Muturiri. Good evening.